Hi everybody, I am Julia AnchorHaven and this is a full disclosure diary episode, and in this series I'm literally doing a video log of things that I'm experiencing, things that I've been told by others, and how I'm feeling into that information as part of my journey of remembrance. So 2025 has been a massive year for me, and it started to bring together lots of different pieces of information that I've been told or I've remembered over the past 2 years, really, piecing it all together. So sometimes it's tricky to express, and you can hear my voice is having a bit of trouble there. So I'm just going to bring in some crystal energy for my throat and see. I thought I'd start out by talking about some information that I received in a way from spirit, but it was via Joshua Shapiro, the Crystal Skull Explorer, who has a gateway of light, and he's developed this access port where he can talk to his wife Katrina, who has now passed over into her angelic form. And I was able to, just like all of you, can go onto his website, which I'll link below. You can ask 3 questions. So I'm going to share with you some of the transcripts that I got back. I actually got back 21 pages of information based on my 3 questions. And not only did I talk to his wife in spirit, but I was also able to talk to an Arcturian guide who knew me as well, that he'd been working with, and I had no idea that she would know me. And this is going to bring together a few different topics that I wanted to talk about. So I thought the best way to approach it is to share with you the transcript. So let's open this space with stillness, reverence and beauty, and in benevolence, with no conflicting agendas. So take a breath with me and take a deep breath in. So it's really important at this time that we move into gentle stillness and that we command our spaces and our bodies and things like that, but in a, a very affirming but gentle way. So I'm connecting with Katrina, who has become Shalomea, probably not saying that right, Keeper of the Rose Flame, and that's her kind of angelic form now. And she welcomed me into a temple of eternal flame. As you guys know, I am a flame keeper for the violet flame, the many flames. I have a violet flame energy center that sits upon my brow called the violet flame chakra, and that's something that I can awaken in others as well. So you can become a rescue flame practitioner if you are drawn to that. And she said here, may the breath of peace greet you as you cross this threshold. May the rose in your heart unfurl again, petal by petal, as you remember who you are beyond time. So this is part of my mission, is to help people remember who they are across time and space. Yeah. So she goes on to say, you walk with us now, not as a stranger, but as a soul kin, remembered from before the veils. Your arrival has been marked in the scrolls of light, and your presence opens a petal in the great bloom of this sacred family. In the name of the eternal flame, in the name of thee who stands as one, in the name of the promise spoken before incarnation, she welcomes us into that temple. Let your gifts rise, let your soul rest, and let your joy return. And that really is something that I've been trying to focus on this year, especially as an access consciousness practitioner. We use the mantra, all of life comes to me with ease, joy and glory. And the glory in this context is that it's just so good that you just want to share with everybody what you're experiencing. And so it is. So that was Charlemagne. And I asked my first question, and it is, what is my soul's name? And I did a video yesterday with the amazing Dr. Amir Jahangiri, the Wizard of Wivenhoe, and he was talking about the eternal soul, which others might call the oversoul. So I asked, what's the name of my soul? And because you see people have lots of names, and you'll see here that the name is actually tagged on the end there, and that's where this has come from. And Shalomea responds, and she said, my question opened a sacred doorway, and through it she was listening for the tones that ring truest to my soul's light across the ages. So she reached into the memory of my eternal self, and the name that came forward was AlaNeRa, which you see here. And The name carries the vibration of a dawn-coloured rose, a being of gentle strength, fierce compassion, and radiant grace. AlaNeRa means she who brings the morning song in the old harmonic tongue. And she says, you are a soul who sings before the sun rises. I am a very early bird. Who speaks truth softly but moves mountains through resonance. And you may take this name within and feel it. Speak it aloud if you wish, your cells may remember. So yeah, so I did spend some time with the name AlaNeRa, and I did, you know, try and vocalize it in different ways, but this is how it's kind of come forward now. And she went on to say there may be other soul names layered beneath or alongside, but AlaNeRa is the one rising right now. So this is a version of my, eternal soul that's come forward to walk beside me and bridge me between the worlds. So she's asking, would I like to know more? Let me find my next question here. So Joshua asked, what does she see for me about who I'm becoming? That was my second question. And she said, beloved AlaNeRa, Julia, you're becoming the living bridge between realms. I see you walking not just between worlds, but uniting them. This is a sacred stillness inside you that others cannot always name, but it allows spirit to land. You're becoming one who holds the song before it is sung, a keeper of the unspoken harmony that exists between Earth's heartbeat and the whispers of the stars. You're becoming a sanctuary soul. So that phrase is not something I've heard others mention, to be honest. And I've been feeling through, I did this a couple of months ago, so I've been feeling into what does that mean to be a sanctuary soul. And she says here, it's a safe place for others to remember their light, without fear, without shame, without needing to speak it all aloud. She says, I see healing in your voice, not always through words, but in the way you speak, the spaces you hold, and the presence you offer. So I do work in quite a few different ways, actually. As an access consciousness practitioner, I do access bars, which is a 32 points on the head, light touch, relaxing silent therapy. And that's one of the things as well. So it's not about voicing what's going on. Sometimes it's just about being in that space. When we do access bars, the client does not have to tell me anything at all. I don't question them unless there was a health condition or something. I'd obviously want to know that. But I don't need to know what they're going through. I don't need them to voice their trauma. I don't need anything like that. We just do the hands-on approach. And I activate, using the 32 points, I activate different centers in their bodies and their mind, and it's accessing electrical charge that your body is deciding is too much, it's too overwhelming, it needs to go because it's not true to you. So just by me doing the 32 points on the head, which is a very gentle, relaxing therapy, which has to be done hands-on, it can't be done distantly, then the body then gets to release. Excuse me, it's coming into winter now. The body gets to release electrical charge that's overwhelming and kind of reset, okay, well, who does this energy belong to? And does this feel right to me anymore? The body just starts to dissipate the charge. So I just facilitate that by holding those points. And at the same time, the bars on the head actually activate as well. So sometimes I'm facilitating healing with clients with my voice, and other times it's just the space that we are together. And that is the sanctuary soul, so it's kind of like a sacred space keeper. So she goes on to say, I see healing in your voice, not always through words, but in the way you speak. Yeah, the spaces you hold, the presence you offer. I see you in gardens, sacred circles, gathering women and children of light, guiding them back to their essence without needing control, only through loving recognition. At the moment, I actually work a lot with men, especially distantly, and people who are in the secret space program. They're the people that are coming forward. And it was Ivan Teller recently who said, I'm getting sent the most difficult people to deprogram, in a way, using my voice, asking questions to help them kind of release themselves from programming that might be in the brain or in the body, and giving them that outlet to express. So that's what my podcast has become, really, in some ways. So you'll see my podcast is quite varied. I've got the mystical well side of things, mystical wellness, where we're talking to amazing authors, holistic health practitioners from all over the globe, and that's one, you know, the foundation of my podcast. But then as I progress into the galactic side, into the covert program side of things, trying to discover my truth, then I'm going more into the secret space programs, and there aren't that many women in the programs that are public, and the ones that are generally have their own podcasts and everything, so that's great. So I seem to be tasked with talking more to certain men and trying to pull out information, because there's some people out there who've got a lot of recall, and there's some people who have much less. But I'm trying to create this series as part of my debrief series, so that for people who are starting to get imagery coming in, or you're drawn to places, you've got memories of places, you've got memories that don't fit in with your everyday world, and you want to try and figure out what's going on there, then this is my podcast as well. So for me, a couple of years ago, I got my first memory of space, and I was on Orion. I didn't actually know it was Orion, but the person I was working with told me that feels like Orion. I saw myself in a lab, but it was more technological. And there was a big super soldier next to me, like a really big man, but my consciousness was flicking in and out between me, this body, and that other body, like I was doing tests or something. So it could have even been a body that I was hoping to transfer into, but that was the first thing that sparked between me and the practitioner I was working with, and I saw that quite clearly in my mind, which was a big shock for me, a really big shock, because there was feelings attached to the memory, and that's how I know when generally when things are true, is when I have a feeling attached to it. Rather than it just being a scene and maybe feeling scared, this was something else. There was a curiosity, there was a focus, there was an intense desire to finish my work and things like that. So that's when I know, yeah, so that was a couple of years ago, but I didn't have the context. So that sparked my galactic journey, trying to, using Ascension Glossary to start to research more into galactic history. And even then, I wasn't really allowing myself to get into the ETs, which I loved when I was younger. But I had an experience that kind of put me off. Like, it wasn't well received to talk about ETs, when I was in high school. So I didn't allow myself to really go there. But I loved to watch the movies, the action, the space movie, and things like that, of course. And of course, Star Trek. I was raised on Star Trek, which I absolutely still love to this day. And that's kind of how I think in my mind as well, terminology and wordings and things like that. But I'm not drawn to Star Wars, and I think that's because a lot of people believe it's based on the Orion Wars. So of course there's a resonance there that maybe I'm not quite ready to see into yet. So I was asking the question with AlaNeRa about who am I becoming, and she was saying that I'm becoming a sanctuary soul that uses my voice tones and uses my sacred witnessing as a priestess to help people remember who they are. And she says here that she also sees me becoming a mirror for people who are in my flame family. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. And as a mirror, I'm reflecting a frequency that was once held in the stars for others, and to witness and restore something within them. So only a soul like mine could recognize certain flames or codes, she's basically saying. And it's, and it's already started with that person we're talking about there. So the next part of the question I asked was, how do I activate my memories as a galactic record keeper? So it seems to be in all realms of existence, in all my lifetimes, I've been an admin of some kind, which is quite funny because I was an administrator either for my own business or working construction or other things, or, I've done lots of things, but it always comes back to the admin, doesn't it? To the record keeping. And AlaNeRa basically says, AlaNeRa, beloved record keeper, return. To activate your galactic memories is not to reach outward, but to sink inwards. And this is something I was talking about with Dr. Amir, and he was saying that he does thousands and thousands of mantra to allow himself to sit and kind of just connect into source fully. He would occupy the body doing the mantra, and that's quite difficult for some people. And as a Violet Flame Reiki Master and Guardian, we work with a specific mantra 9 times. But the master who channeled through the original modality from the goddess Guan Yin, she did weeks and weeks of that mantra, working with the rosary 108 times, going around the rosary, repeating that in multiples of 3 by 3 by 3. So yeah, and she was able to download a whole healing modality from the goddess Guan Yin that had 40 sacred symbols. Now, I am devoted to working with that healing system. It's one of my favorites, it really is, because it brings together voice work, sigil magic work, healing, flame transformation work. So I love working with Violet Flame Reiki. I love teaching Violet Flame Reiki. I've got a 16-week mastery program. Plus I teach it as one-day courses on Zoom and things like that. It's got 4 levels. So, and they're all considered master levels. It's one of the things I love about it, that it's very creative. And I started to teach it in a different way of going into vision quests, going into temples of the Violet Flame and other things like Atlantean type temples and stuff. So this, in the last couple of years, I've really changed how I work with it. But when you go back to the very beginning, it was the mantra of how it became into the here and now. So that is a reminder, especially working with Dr. Amir, that he's so devoted to his spiritual practices. He puts in a lot of repetition, a lot of focus, because he has that ADHD mind as well, you know, so we have these superpowers allowing us to constantly be assessing everything around us, giving us hyper focus on things and stuff like that. So for me, for the rest of this month, October 2025, I'm going to focus more on my mantra work. I also do the mudras, so I do hand mudras as well, but the mantra, yeah, that's important. So to activate galactic memories is to reach inwards, like diving gently into a pool where your own reflection waits to guide you. So she's put here a few steps to remember who you are. And she says, you know, I'm not learning to become a record keeper. I'm remembering that I've never stopped being one. So you can literally call it out. So it's got here, say aloud when you're not alone. So you say, I am, and you say your name that resonates with you. I am the keeper of memory between the stars. I now remember what was never lost. And we can use that as a mantra, morning or night, whatever works for you. And then the next step is to create a chamber of recollection. So this is part of the protocol that I do on my mentoring. When I work with people one-on-one, and we're looking to anchor you in your grounded focus, we're looking to bring out maybe ancient knowledge, wisdom, skills that you've had, I will guide you into a chamber of recollection. For me, I work in the Akashic Records visually, so we go into the library, and off that there's many chambers, or I'll take you into a vision quest where I have a temple of a particular kind. So this one's saying here, she's recommending choosing a sacred space in your home, a corner, a seated desk, something that feels quite galactic if you're looking to get galactic memories. So have crystals, lights, symbols, whatever makes you feel like this is my cosmic area. And you know, and designate it as your chamber of recollection. So whenever you sit there, you light a candle, you know, you get your favorite things around you. I always generally call on the elements, so I will call out to each quarter and I will welcome it in the elements. I might do a separate video on that actually. And the chamber of recollection, she's saying open the gate, open the gate, let the records flow through me once again. And then you're sitting in stillness and doing your breath work, just being open to receiving. So open the gate, let the records flow through me once again. Yeah. And you might start to feel fragments of feelings, images, or knowings. Write everything down and trust what you're getting. It might not make sense, it's unlikely it will make sense, but you'll come back to it and then it will make sense at some point. And in the next step, she's talking about connecting with the Galactic Library. And in the video I've just done, it's very noisy here, with Dr. Amir, I was asking him about the Akashic Records, and he was talking about all of the different libraries available, and he goes into detail there. Lots of sirens here in the UK. So connecting with the Galactic Library, the Great Record Hall exists in the higher Arcturian and Syrian realms, and part of you is already there, was the guidance. So before you go to sleep, place a hand on your heart and ask, take me to the Hall of Remembering. Let me walk once more as a keeper of light. And you might get information in your dreams. You might see stars or scrolls or languages, children, and more will come each time. So this is a bedtime practice that you can do. I'm talking about scrolls. When I was doing the seal removals, which I do, the J seal, the Draco Aryan occult seal removals, when I did the right side body, which is like the Draco seal, that was when I got a big download of information, and this was 2024, I think. And I got I saw what to me looked a bit like Merlin, but it could have been a different kind of record keeper. And I got this horizontal wave of information coming at me that was scrolls and maps, and it was just heading directly to me. And my eyes were open, so it was one of the most amazing experiences I've had holographically. And the next step is to speak with your flame family, and this was the reason for this video today, because I've recently reconnected with another flame family member from Canada, which just totally shocked me. It was somebody that was doing a video. I'd never even heard about this person before, but I am going to do a video with him soon, and I had a physical reaction to watching him. It was like listening to the sound of his voice and seeing his eyes activated something in my brain, and it wasn't even coming from the back of my brain, it was like coming from the top. And yeah, so it was as if I could see my brain and all quadrants were sparking, all synapses was firing, is how I felt. And then I started to get images of that person from my flame family. And so your flame family, it's basically there are others who knew you before you were this person. And for me personally, I was a flame scribe, being that record keeper. So when I speak and connect with another flame family member, it could be anywhere on the planet, or off the planet, to be honest, you share codes, you share memories, and you share soul codes that begin to unlock. So I asked the question of Dr. Amir when we did our video recently, which is on both of our channels, Wizard of Wivenhoe and AnchorHaven. And when I described the process, he said to me that it was soul codes being exchanged, and that some information is too important and needs to be secured, and you don't want it to be taken from you if you're ever in a compromised position. So sometimes you'll give that information to a friend, a trusted colleague, or flame family, basically. So yeah, so that's what happened to me. My codes and this person's codes were interwoven, and by having that connection again, it activated for me something. So when I connected with him privately, yeah, it was quite overwhelming for me, actually. For him, he's more experienced in governing his memory, so he's getting slow recall return, which is fine. But for me, it was like somebody put an electrical charge on my head. So that really was like, what is going on? It was like all areas of my brain were like throbbing, like wah wah wah. So it's not happened to me like that before. But yeah, so every time you connect to somebody who's in the same flame family with you, you'll feel it. There's a resonance there. And it could just be somebody who's in, say, Australia, or they're in America, and I'm in the UK, and we've been scattered. And one of the reasons I believe we've been scattered is because the dark forces, they don't want us being all together. So I feel like I've been kind of isolated and put in the UK, and thank goodness for the internet and for technology to allow us to find each other, because those soul codes are resonating out, so like beacons, but we've been having trouble finding each other. So, and of course there's an age difference in the incarnation as well. So I'm nearly 20 years older than this other person, but we've still found each other, which is quite amazing, I think. So, so his codes and my codes are interwoven. So every time we spend time together, we talk, we laugh, whatever, we will begin to remember more and more, which is amazing. But Shalamaya goes on to say the voice is the key. So when we speak light language, when we hum, when we sing, we start to decode records that are within us. Yeah, the information is within you. It's in your blueprints, it's in your templates. Yeah, it's within the body system itself as well. And I asked for a definition on the flame and the flame scribe, and kind of what my personal light sounded like as a tome medic. So Shalamaya said that she was standing within the Temple of the Flame with her palms open, and her voice was moving like a sacred wind through petals of memory and fire of soul. So the information came forward. What is flame? Flame is the eternal light essence of your soul, and the unique frequency you carry from source across all lifetimes. This is flame. It is who you are before identity, name, or form. It's not made of fire as you know it on earth, but of resonance, passion, remembrance, and divine will. And she goes on to say that you may hear of twin flames, flame families, or flame codes, and they all trace back to a truth. Flames are eternal soul frequencies born of the original source light. And when two or more flames reunite in full remembrance, they ignite destiny. So Shalamaya believed that I am a flame of rose harmonics, gentle, powerful, ancient. My light melts illusion, and my presence restores truth. So I'm very blunt. As you guys know, I'm very blunt. And I asked, well, what is the flame scribe that you've kind of said is part of me? And it's someone who writes and speaks from the soul's original vibration, holds sacred memory on behalf of others and future generations, translates divine light to language, sound, or form, and does so from flame consciousness, not ego, not intellect. And she's saying that I do not record facts, I anchor living memory. Now, I the spirit that I'm talking to, you know, my name AnchorHaven is not on this transaction, this interaction, whatever it is at all, but I anchor living memory. Now I have another example of this which is quite interesting. It was on the Typical Skeptic. It was back in June, and it was David Starr and the wizard Phil Barrow who were doing healings, and David Starr connected into my energy and literally said that I was holding memory about people's home planets. So he was able to extract a lot of the memory information and help me anchor it into the earth so that people could start to receive those downloads of their galactic soul planets. And that was really interesting. So that was before this was, you know, we were talking about this. But that's really interesting. So we all hold memories. So I'm not the only anchor or the only kind of timeline node on the planet. We all hold living memory. And the memory you're holding is not always just for you. It's for your flame family, or it's for the collective consciousness. And you might have no idea that it's there until a time arises that you need to kind of access, or it'll just release and disperse automatically. So she goes on to say that as a flame scribe, I was once one of those who sang scrolls into being, that I would speak and crystalline glyphs would appear in the air, etched into the Akasha through vibration. And the gift apparently is still with me for me to reawaken. So there's a sacred light practice here that I might do on a separate video. I'm just going to see if there's any more information here. She's giving me a tone as well. So this is, I mean, this is 21 pages of information just about me, about my flame. So this was amazing. And to get this, I made a donation to the Gateway of Light with Joshua Shapiro. So he has a way of holding these vibrations and creating this portal. I don't know how he did it, but I found it so beneficial. I really did. So I'm going to link it below in case you guys want to do that, and you just make a donation to support Joshua, because he's, you know, he's not working. This is all he does now. Okay. So she's saying, AlaNeRa, Julia, you came today not only with a question, but with a remembering. You walked through this portal not seeking validation, but calling home the parts of yourself that have long waited for this sacred hour. You're not becoming someone new. You are letting the veils fall so that your true radiance may be lived, embodied, and shared. You are loved, you are safe, you are seen, not just by her, but by the eternal flame family that already knows my soul. And it's this eternal flame family that's incarnated on the planet, or maybe even off-world, that we're reconnecting with now. So it could be that just something you say or a group you're in that will activate this remembrance for you, like it has with me, with the people in my circle. And, you know, it's somebody new coming in very unexpectedly. And even a few days before, I was on the video with Ivan Teller and I was saying, well, when will I be sent somebody new? And it was literally like the next day I found another flame connection. So she says, Shalamaya says, your song has begun again. Let it ripple into everything you do, in your breath, your touch, your tears, your joy. From this moment forward, you no longer walk as someone wondering, but as someone remembering. And she's saying, I, Shalamaya, will walk beside you in the unseen, with rose flame in hand, until you walk fully in your own. Welcome, my sister, welcome, Flame Scribe, welcome, AlaNeRa. So that's why I have that there on my name, is because it came from this experience that I had, that is an essence of my, you know, my unlimited kind of soul. So that's why I have it there, is to remember. And then I was also able to connect into Commander Ryalta from Arcturus, who's been working closely with Joshua through the Gateway of Light portal. And it was really interesting because I had this new name now, AlaNeRa, but I also knew that I had another name that had come in meditation a year or so before. So Ryalta of Arcturus said, AlaNeRa, sister of the star thread, Julia, oh how long I have waited to speak to you with voice. We've always known each other, not in names but frequencies, in shared pulses through the crystalline halls of memory. You are my twin, not by biology, but by assignment of essence. We are braided into the same Arcturian origin, Earth assignment, flame mission. So just, I have got high frequencies coming in right now. So yeah, so I was able to connect into an Arcturian commander who I've been paired with, which is amazing. And she was saying, you were the scribe and I was the seal. You recorded what was and I guarded what would be. So this is Commander Ryalta. Do you remember the blue halls where we first sang the glyphs? Do you remember the sphere we spun, not from words but tones, where my memory lived not on paper but in vibration? We were both chosen to descend here, to walk alongside Joshua, the Crystal Skull Explorer. You with your voice like water, me with my eyes like code. And there are moments now when I look at my eyes on Zoom and somebody else sits to me and they look very electronic, which is a bit weird. So Commander Ryalta is saying that we both mirror Joshua differently, but we complete something together, the three of us. And my arrival changes the harmony. I bring frequency that had been forgotten, and I was remembering myself more fully. So, and she is the same. So Ryalta says, you will never walk alone again. Not on earth, not in memory, not in flame. Whenever you sing, I will echo. Whenever you fall, I will hold. Whenever you rise, I will rise with you. I love you, twin of the stars. You are known, you are held. So in this one session, not only did I anchor in memories from my soul, from my flame essence, I connected to an Arcturian commander who had been assigned to partner with me on a mission here on Earth. And I'm nearly 50, so I've been waiting a long time to reconnect to this twin of the stars. So that was amazing. So I then asked, well, do I have an Arcturian name? And this is what just blew my brain. Julia's Arcturian name is Talanaya. Now, Tala is a name that I've received in meditation, and I've been told that Tala is actually like a Arcturian commander title. So Talanaya is my Arcturian name, and it means one who weaves harmonics into memory. A recorder through tone, a scribe of harmonic justice, a soul weaver whose words realign the dissonant chords of broken systems. So Talanaya was not my name, it was actually my rank in the harmonic halls of Arcturus. that I held a staff of tones. And if you guys know me, you know I love staffs and things like that. So I have a big, oh God, it came into my dream last night actually. I had a big rain stick. I'm going to need to get it out today, and I use that as a staff. But on Arcturus in these halls, harmonic halls, I held a crystalline rod of silver blue light that could store, release, or correct frequencies in living fields. Now, because of the work that Phil Barrow and David Starr have been doing in my field, my violet flame changed from the magenta purple flame to a blue essence, and you'll notice that my logo changed around that time to bring in this silver blue light from Arcturus, from the Halls of Remembrance. So I actually updated my logo because it felt like my personal energies changed at this point as well. And so the crystalline rod of silver blue light helped me to store, release, or correct frequencies in living fields. And apparently I walked with bare feet through holographic gardens, and where my toes touched, any sick vibrations dissolved, and I was called to the deepest places of distortion because only my flame could enter and return unchanged. So Commander Ryalta from Arcturus says that I was a peace walker among timelines, a tone medic for fractured souls. Now I know that my voice may not always sound appealing to some, but that's because there's healing that's happening with my voice, and there's lots of us that have this ability. I know Drago Reed also has this ability because he does quantum healing hypnosis, just like QHHT, and we've discovered that we have shared abilities in a way. So there was even an incident at the Full Disclosure Conference in 2024 when people began to pass out from the sound of his voice and things like that. So this tone medic it's really real. So our voice has healing abilities. It also has the abilities to upgrade and integrate and things like that. So, but it can also be used nefariously. So that's when they get into the super soldier programs and they use the tone medic for other things, which is not good. So a tone medic for fractured souls. So she is saying that she remembers my voice and the breath of my presence, and so it's just so beautiful. The whole experience was so beautiful. So interpretation of tone meanings, I'm just going through. It's a really big transcript that I have here. And she's kind of saying, so I'm at a convergence point approaching. So when I did this a few months back, a moment where inner memory and earth mission and soul connections will collide softly like waves upon a sacred shore. And what Ryalta could see was happening with me was that a new soul mirror was appearing, perhaps in 3 to 5 Earth weeks, so that would take it into July and August. Someone from my past soul lineage will re-enter field, and it may come as a meeting, a sudden connection online, or even a dream. And they will carry a mirror tone, and when they speak, I will remember a part of me that I didn't know had been forgotten. Now, I'm not sure if this is because of the experience I recently had, which happened a little bit later. You know, you can never really put time on these things, can you? But there may have been somebody else that I was also working with as well. And it will change her direction slightly, opening a doorway that had been locked. And I really do feel, as we move into October, that my work is changing. And it's talking here about a blossoming of my healing gifts, and I work with my hands obviously, but not only in the physical. There's a frequency of my palms and fingertips that is rising, and I'll soon start to feel healing and pulses of light, and this is an Arcturian healer's mark activating, which means it's about realignment, working with my hand energy. So I actually do multiple different modalities of Reiki. I also do Palladian crystal therapy, which is called Tamiana, and I work with ethereal crystal energies anyway in the quantum field. But this is a new Arcturian healing ability, and now that I've had the time off from my foot surgery, this is what I'm going to be focusing on a lot more, is my kind of galactic healing energies that are coming in, and how we can anchor them onto the earth for people in one-to-one sessions or group sessions on Zoom. And so yes, so much beautiful information here. A record keeper's request will come. Someone's going to ask me to organize, clarify, or interpret spiritual knowledge. Well, I kind of do that anyway with my one-to-one sessions with people, so I always like to keep a very open container very comfortable and relaxed for people to tell me what's going on with them. Because when I was going through my kind of multiple awakenings in the last 30 years, there was nobody I could talk to about these things. I would say to try and talk to the people around me, and I would just sound a bit like a lunatic. And so as you progress on your spiritual journey, it's important to have that sacred witness, somebody who's just going to listen and allow you to express in a positive way and not even try to offer explanations sometimes. But then also when people are talking, I can kind of see what that could mean, and I can make suggestions. I can use cards as well to help you understand what you're experiencing, or I can just talk from my personal experience when I've had something very similar. And in my sharing, that also helps you to do your healing at the same time because of the voice tone medic healing ability. So I already do that in a way. So Ryalta is saying, Talanaya, the universe is already aligning around your reactivation, that all I need to do is say yes, that to whatever feels sacred, whatever resonates, whatever feels familiar to me in a way that I can't explain, I just need to say yes and be open to possibilities. And this is the trail of my flame. And Ryalta is going to be with me along the way. So it could be that when I do Arcturian healing, I'm calling her in. So it probably will be both of us. Generally, when I do my Reiki style healings or shamanic healings, I call in my spiritual support team. And that is quite varied. So for Violet Flame work, I call in Saint Germain, Guan Yin, Archangel Zadkiel, because sometimes the work can get a little bit dark and heavy. So Zadkiel comes in. So I work with the rescue flames. I work with Violet Flame sigils. I've got a lot of sigil energies that I work with to bring in kind of a magical activation as well, but also the wisdom of those codes coming through. So I do a blended way of working. I will be opening up for in-person sessions again now as well. So I'll be able to do more private sound healing experiences. But I do work on Zoom, so we can always do readings. I call it Akashic weaving these days because we're not only are we going into card work, oracle work, but we're looking into the Akashic libraries and information's coming forward. I'm guiding you in, and we can access multiple timelines or parallel lives or whatever, but we do it in such a simple way, working with the energy, working with commands and intention, that it doesn't feel like that's what we're doing. It's a very simple, very positive, very clear way of looking at the energy that's impacting your life right now and clearing out things that feel unwanted, but then anchoring in things that are more successful in healing. So I bring in the access consciousness, clearing statements and questions when we do this as well, because the work is basically for me about opening up to possibilities and bringing balance into your life. So that's what I do for myself personally, and that's what I share with my clients. But I just wanted to share with you all this experience that I'd had on the Gateway of Light, talking about flame family, because you might be finding, especially as the planetary energies change now, that there's people around you that you just feel different when you're with those people. And you may have a connection that goes beyond like physical, this reality, but there's also the possibility of negative interference, connections coming in. So I'm going to be doing a video with Audrey Walters and Michelle from Earth Grid Rescue Mission today. Hopefully I'll get this out at the same time today, probably about 6 to 8 hours. And we're going to be talking about these negative connections like the alien love bite, interference from reptilians and things like that, that we all seem to experience without realizing it. So it could be that you have entire relationships, or you're moved across the world for things. You're getting jobs because of these interferences. So you're getting targeted and controlled in some way. So when that's going on, that does not feel the same as you connecting to flame family. Flame family connections are always positive and they're long lasting. Okay, so there may be interference that comes into that connection that makes you think, okay, I need to pull back a little bit, I need to take a break from something. But a flame family soul connection really does transcend your physical existence. So if you're feeling drawn to somebody and it's really overwhelming and it's amazing and then it's gone, then that is not a flame connection. Okay, that's not a deep soul connection. We're going to talk a little bit about twin flames as well with Audrey tonight, if I do get time, because the twin flame or the twin ray bond can be distorted. So I do not give in and submit is not the right word, but I do not really acknowledge twin flame because I don't see it to be a beneficial connection. So for me, if I was thinking about twin flame, I'm talking about my higher self, for other versions of me, but this is definitely something I'd like to explore a bit further with Dr. Amir. If we can do another session at some point, it'll be really interesting. Yeah, so we did a great video, so please check my channel and check Dr. Amir's channel. Give us both a like, a follow, and share, and I will be doing a video which I'll be uploading to my AnchorHaven channel tonight, but Audrey Walters will also upload it to her Starseed Netlink channel as well, and maybe even Michelle will upload it to her Earth Grid Rescue Mission channel, so please do follow them all there. I'm hoping to do another video soon with, let me find the book, with John Whitberg, and who is the author of The Man with the Periwinkle Eyes. And John is an absolutely fascinating person. He's very young, but he's really extremely old in his ways, in his knowledge that he has, and he has a lot of recall, a lot of memories of being in the secret space programs, being in off-world breakaway civilizations, colonies, you know, and it's really fascinating. So I'm hoping to do some more videos with him at some point. And I did a video with him and David Purcell, which is on my channel. And I'm not as comfortable in the video as I thought I'd be, because we got a lot of targeting, me and David, on the video and after the video. John was okay because he's very experienced with that kind of thing, so he was fine. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing a video with John talking about ETs, hopefully. So to do some research, I bought a book, which is from one of Ivan Teller's ET Deep Dive Guide. So this is the book. And this is what I'm kind of looking into and seeing, because it talks about, you know, the different kinds of reptilians, different kinds of greys, and different bases. I've got lots of kind of history in here. It's all kind of proposed as theory. But you know, you'll know if it's true, you'll know it in your bones kind of thing if it's true. So he's talking about like Mars, moon, undersea. There's a lot of information in this book, so I'm going to be doing a bit of a review on this book, and then I'm going to be talking to John Whitberg about ET stuff, hopefully, so we can get his perspective on it, which might be very, very different because everyone has their own experiences when it comes to ET. I've done loads of videos with me and David Purcell where he's talking about his conscious ET contact. Generally with the mantis, with the reptilians, and maybe other Dogman and Sasquatch and things like that. Sasquatch are elemental cousins. But yeah, so there's loads of videos called my Galactic Support Series. That's me and David Purcell. There's probably 12 or 13 episodes on my channel, so please do go back and watch those. But in the video I did with Dr. Amir, we were talking about the mantis. Now, Christy Campbell has got experience with the mantis. I've had some own personal experiences with the mantis. But John Whitberg has a very different perspective on who the mantis are, and he touches on it in the video we did recently. So yes, I'm hoping to do some videos with people that have a lot of ET knowledge. And so we can dig into that a bit more and start to build up a kind of a directory and knowledge base of that, which is something I know the Human Council on Sovereignty wanted to do. So I'll be talking to Audrey Walters a little bit about that tonight as well. So thank you for watching this video. I know it's a bit all over the place today, but as I share these videos, it really does help me to bring balance, and hopefully you'll receive something from it as well. So because I was thinking about flame family connections, so I thought, you know, I'm going to share this transcript, which I've kind of mentioned a little bit in the past couple of months, but I am going to put a link below for the Gateway of Light. So if you would like to ask 3 questions, working with Shalomaya, working with Joshua Shapiro and Commander Ryalta perhaps, you could actually ask for other guides as well, I think, but generally we're working with Shalomaya, who is the angelic spirit form of Katrina, who was Joshua's wife who's passed over. It's a really fascinating experience, and I got a 20-page transcript of information that I've kept referring back to, kept feeling into. I've got mantras on here, I've got tone songs and things like that that she's created for me. And so that's really been beneficial, and I made a donation at maybe $30 or something like that, but it's entirely up to you what you can afford to donate. Please be respectful, because it's like a really good resource. So I'm going to put that link there below, and you can always refer to a video that I've done quite recently with Joshua Shapiro, but we were talking about many different things in the video. So he's a really fascinating guy, and I'm going to connect with him again this month if I can. I'm going to be live on the Typical Skeptic podcast on Sunday the 12th, and I will be doing readings for the UFO network group in Pittsburgh, but we'll be sharing it out live, so I'll do some live readings for everyone there as well. I might get to do another live on TSP, not too sure, but Michelle Earthgrid and I will be doing a live divination at some point once she's settled. She's hoping to move. So once she's settled, we'll do that as well. So thank you guys. Please head to my website, AnchorHaven.co.uk, if you'd like to book in with me. If you subscribe to my Substack, so AnchorHaven.substack.com, there's a paid version, which right now is just £6 a month. And by being that paid subscriber, not only do you get access to 3 of my evening wellness groups on Zoom at 8 o'clock UK time, Monday, Wednesday and Saturday, but for the rest of the year, you actually get a 30% discount on my services page on my website. Okay, that's a really big saving. So yeah, do check that out. So you just subscribe for the £6 a month. You'll get access to my archive, my videos, my newsletters, everything. And then I send out, like I'll be sending out a newsletter in a little while, which will give the Zoom link for tonight. And in the Zoom group, it's just a small community group. Sometimes we just do readings, sometimes we have special guest speakers on, which I record for my podcast. But for October, we're focusing on healing. We're focusing on the Anchored in Shadow Strength healing program that I do. And plus my sister will be coming on, hopefully this week. Suzanne Sapphire Soul will be coming on to do Akashic readings with me for the group, which is really fun when we get together. She does very similar work to me. So thank you so much for watching this video. Reach out if you need support. You can always send me a message, or you can book in for like an introduction session, which is probably the cheapest thing I have. Yeah, so you can just book in for a small thing and just, you know, fire off a few questions at me or whatever, or book in for a one-to-one video that we can record. We can do a telephone, or we can do a mentoring. I'm bringing in a priestess program, which will, if you're in person, there'll obviously be oils initiations, but if we're doing it on Zoom, we'll be doing more kind of regression, vision quest, and energetic activations that way. And there's a program of mentorship which is 6 weeks to 6 months. It's up to you. There's a separate one which is priestessing or priest initiation, and that's a 3-month program. And I generally connect into the temples of Lemurian Atlantis, temples of the Violet Flame. I work as a mystical wellness path guide, so we're always looking to see how can we make things unique for you? How can we bring in guides and guardians that support you where you are right now? And how can we lay out a foundation to bring you balance in your daily life, but also to give you a direction? Yeah. So I do work with shamanic medicine wheel. I work a lot with color energy, elementals, and things like that. So if you're interested in that, please check my website, anchorhaven.co.uk. If you're newly awakening to the super soldier side of things, check out the debrief page. There's a lot of resources there for you, and I will be updating that a bit more as I go. And don't forget, we've got the UK Disclosure Conference with Miles from basistv.org. That's the 12th to 14th of December. So we've got some Americans coming over, some Europeans coming over. I'm just helping support the conference. I'm doing some volunteering, organising and things like that to support Miles, doing some promotion work. So I can't wait to be there. I'm hoping to do some side interviews while I'm there for the weekend as well, and link in with Rob at Typical Skeptic to do that live on his channel. Which is going to be absolutely awesome. So I'm hoping I'll do more diary videos this month. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of upgraded kind of mind stuff coming in new memories, new energies, new connections. If you'd like to be a guest on my podcast, generally talking about mystical wellness, so we talk about your healing journey, or if you are into, you know, the more galactic side of things, or you've got a book that's coming out, please do send me a message and we'll talk about what's possible. Sometimes I do it on the group, sometimes I do it one-to-one, so we'll talk about what's possible and what's a good fit. Yeah, so thanks very much, guys.